Are you a man living your purpose in life? What does that even mean? And why is a man on his purpose so attractive to women? That's what we're going to be talking about today. The 5-step cycle for a man being on his purpose. What are the common pitfalls and mistakes men make along the journey? And how can you empower yourself so you don't make those same mistakes? For those of you who don't know me, my name's Daniel, and I help guys become men they can be proud of, who attract women that they're proud to be with. And the state of masculinity today of men in the world is they're so confused. They're so lost. They're not sure where is their place in the world. What exactly is it that they should be doing to fulfill their purpose as a man, their duty as a man. And this leads to a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. All the depression rates and pharmaceutical drugs are through the roof because men have lost touch with this inner purpose. And today I want to talk about restoring that and how exactly you do this. And this is not for most men out there, the mainstream of men who just blindly follow the narrative. This message isn't for them. It's for men like you who have chosen a different path, who are awakening to a new life. And we're going to go through those tools today. So if you want to be a stand for the new form of positive masculinity, men finding their strength again, hit the subscribe button down below. Stay till the end because we're going to go through some really important stuff, especially step 5. And I'll see you guys in the video. Okay, so let's talk about the cycle of purpose that is a form and a roadmap for masculinity these days. There's 5 key steps in this, and it's extremely, extremely important. So before we even break down each one of these steps, why is this important? Why do women find a man that's on his purpose so attractive, so sexy? I would even argue that a lot of men's dating issues and attraction issues that they face in their lives today has a lot to do with them not knowing what their purpose is, not going after their purpose, not putting their attention on their purpose. And when we don't have that meaning in our lives, we often distract ourselves. If you find yourself easier distracted by social media, all these dopamine hits, eating bad food, watching porn, all these types of things, those are a sign that you aren't clear on what your purpose is, what your vision is. Because when your vision becomes clear and you know what you're building towards and what you're working towards, all of those dopamine distractions fall away by the wayside. And all that hedonism, all the pleasure that comes back into our lives is when we don't have that meaning, is when we don't have that purpose. And I actually got taught this lesson, funny enough, by a dog. It gave me a great illustration of this. So I remember a friend of mine had 2 Labradors, a male and a female, and he was playing with one of the Labradors. He had a tennis ball, and the male Labrador, let's call him Benny, was just staring at the tennis ball like loving the tennis ball. And every time my friend would throw it, he'd run over there and he would pick up the ball and he'd come back and he was so happy. And the female Labrador wasn't really interested in the tennis ball, but she would just stare at Benny. So look at this image. Benny, the male dog, is staring at the tennis ball. His purpose, that's all he's focused on. That's his main focus in his life. And the female dog, Sally, is staring at Benny. Wow, a male on his purpose, a male focused on his purpose. That's super attractive to the feminine. And he did a few rounds of this, and it was pretty crazy at the end because what happened is that as soon as Benny, the male dog, stopped looking at the tennis ball, almost in like a split second, he turned over to look at Sally, the female dog. As soon as he did that, she turned away, she lost interest, and she walked off. And I was like, poof, like, wow, like, talk about a knowledge or a wisdom bomb being imparted in that moment. And David Data talks about this a lot in his book, The Way of the Superior Man, is that a man's purpose should always be his number 1 priority. And his woman in his relationship comes second to that. It doesn't mean he doesn't value it. It doesn't mean that's not important to him, but his vision and his purpose and his mission is always ahead of that. And for the woman, it's a little bit different. Her man, her relationship in the feminine context, that can be her priority. All the women today are like, I'm a boss bitch and it's they put their own pursuits ahead of their man. And that's one of the reasons relationships are on dire strain today. A woman almost feel guilty about it. They've been so conditioned. Don't rely on a man. Don't support a man. Make something of yourself in the world. And if that's a personal choice you're making as a female, congrats to you. But don't be surprised why you're not that fulfilled. You're not that happy. You're not that satisfied, because that's not the type of woman that high value men want to bond with. High value men want to bond with a woman that nourishes them and nourishes their relationship. And the woman gets her nourishment from being that nourishment in the relationship. The boss bitch you see today, all she's doing is she's trying to add a man on as an accessory in her life. Oh, I've got the career, I've got the house, I've got the car. Now I need to add a man in, and now I've got the full package. But that's not how a successful relationship works. If you want a masculine feminine relationship where there's polarity, where the sex is great, where it carries on and has longevity, that boss bitch, that doesn't fly in that type of situation. So that's why, again, man on his purpose, he's got his vision. The woman she makes her self in the relationship, that's her priority. Okay, so what are these 5 phases that we're talking about? So think of it like this in your life as a man, that your life is made up of many mountain peaks. Okay, we set a vision, we go after that vision, we complete that vision, we have some time to reconsolidate, and then we go after the next mission and the next mountain peak, and we just keep going up and up and up and up and up like this. So I'll give you some examples from my own life how this has played out in a positive and negative way. So step number 1, in order to fulfill this, is number 1, you have the vision. Okay, and this gives direction. This sets everything in your life in motion, because without the vision of, okay, cool, this is where I want to go, you don't get to call on those special forces, those forces of meaning, those forces that have an important impact in your life. Because unless you have that vision, you almost don't get to awaken these dormant parts of yourself. So everything comes from the vision, and the bigger the vision, the more of yourself it awakens in you. So you could have a vision to go to the gym and get really strong. You could have a vision to become healthy. To me, and this is what I've seen play out in my life and the lives of many men, it can be, you get more gifts from a vision that more directly challenges your ego. So what are some examples of that things that challenge your ego? If you start your own business, this is why I think for many men, it's a really important path. If you're feeling the call to start your own business, why? Because your ego is on the line. If it fails, you feel like a bit of an idiot. If you put out some videos and no one watches, you feel like an idiot. If you're trying to sell something and no one buys it, you feel like a bit of an idiot. And what that does is helps to actually make the ego more humble. It makes it more humble and more integrated, so that you can actually keep on going. Because if you take the example like the gym, for most men, it actually inflates their ego. It's like, okay, well, I'm just getting bigger and stronger, and I think I'm cool, I think I'm cool, I think I'm cool. But normally it's built on a very weak foundation. And these visions that have the ego more involved, that helps you become more humble. It helps you to diminish the ego and awaken your spiritual capacities, if you even want to call it that. So starting a business, the journey that I take men on is a journey in their dating life, going up and starting to interact with women and put yourself out there and learn that you have to face so much of your own insecurities, of your own fears, and it also involves rejection. That's basically a great way for your vision, if you really want to grow fast as a man, is do something where you face rejection. Okay, in the gym, you don't really face rejection. Maybe one day you can pick the thing up, you can't. It's not saying the gym's bad. There's a lot of other benefits to that: persistence, perseverance, all of these types of things. But do something where your ego is on the line. That's why I'm such a fan of the success with woman journey and up leveling yourself there as a man, because there's a lot of rejection involved, and you have to build your character up and you make it really strong. And that's really encouraging. So number 1, you have vision, which is like, okay, cool, this is where I'm going. Vision is so critical. You'll hear Jordan Peterson talk about this. But if you have 10 different directions in life, I want to do this, and maybe I want to do that, but maybe I want to do that, If you're driving in a car and you're trying to get somewhere, but there's 10 different destinations to go to, you're going to get confused. I could go this way, but I could go this way. Things are very confusing in your life. But as soon as you say, that's my vision, that's what I'm working towards, things become very simple all of a sudden. It's easy to say no to things because you know where you're going. It's hard to say no to things if you're just running around in a circle and you actually don't know where you are going with your life. So the vision is absolutely the most critical thing. And the bigger the vision, the more potential it will awaken in you as a man. So then we have things along the way. First thing that's going to happen in your vision, depending what it is you're probably going to encounter failure. If you've seen Ray Dalio talk about this, it's almost like it goes like this in a loop where you have your vision and then it loops around like that. And just like I've done with the mountain peaks, it goes around like that. You have the vision, then it doesn't normally just work out easy first time. You got to meet some failure along the thing that builds good character, that builds resilience, builds strength. Then what you have is improving. So you're improving yourself along the way. And then obviously the learning. How do you integrate what you're doing here? So if we write in here, number 3 is about learning, and number 4 is about improving. So you could look at it like in a mountain like this, or in these different types of circles. So for myself, like as an example, I used to be broke or whatever. I worked a 9-to-5 job as an accounts manager. I earned $900 a month. I wasn't happy where I was financially. Women didn't take me seriously. I was clueless when it came to women, and I had the vision. It was more about the woman. I'm like, I'm going to be a man who has options in his dating life. You know, I'm going to create an incredible dating life for myself. And I was so clear on that vision, and that fueled. I always used to think of myself as like quite a lazy person. Like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. In school, I would always drag my feet. I wasn't interested in what they were teaching. But as soon as that I had a vision that gripped me, wow, like no one would describe me as lazy in that regard. But it took a while. And as soon as I got that vision, boom, I know what I had to do. I know what mentors I needed to invest in. I know what coaching I needed to do. I was willing to invest the money because it was for something, it was for a vision, it was for a better life. So then I went on that journey. And in some ways achieved what people would call great success with women, having an abundance in your dating life, have options of high quality women, coming from a guy who didn't really have options in his dating life, always in the friend zone, thought I was ugly, thought there was always something wrong with my looks. And through that journey, I found out that being an attractive man is not purely on the looks. Sure, it does play a small factor, but females are more attracted to your character traits as a man, your behavioral traits. Men are attracted more to visual cues initially. So as soon as I worked on my character traits and my behavior traits, and I became more of a leader, I became not so reactive emotionally, I became a more sexual man. All of a sudden, my results started to go up and up, even though my looks didn't really change. And that was a huge light bulb moment for me. And that's something that I also look to share with other men along the journey. So when we come back to this and we have the vision, this can also happen for men. And I also just want to warn you about this to some extent, is once I did hit that goal, and then I started teaching other men, and I always had this goal, cool. Again, I was like, okay, now I can get girls, but I'm still struggling to pay my rent, so to speak. How can I then build up a business? And then I had to learn all different skills in terms of entrepreneurship. And I went up another mountain, so to speak. But it can also be tricky in some ways, because for me, even though I'd heard it a long time, we almost get the sense that once I get to the top of the mountain, then I'm going to be happy. Once I have this certain amount of money, once I have this type of relationship, once I have these kind of skills in dating. And it's almost like a huge anticlimax. So I don't want to say this to not motivate people, but you almost hit with reality in the face. And I've spoken to a lot of men who've endured this. I think there's a quote by Prince that says, I've been to the top of the mountain, there's nothing there. And that can be quite scary. It's like, well, what am I doing this all for? You can almost fall into this like, well, nothing means anything in my life. But what's actually really going on in a situation like that is each time you go on one of these journeys, each time you go on one of these growth journeys, you learn something about yourself. You upgrade your character as a man. This is when they say things like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Well, you can hear that stuff all the time, but until you have an experience like that in your body, in your own real life, people could say money's not going to make you happy. It's hard to internalize that without going on a money journey. Go make $100,000 or $1,000,000 or whatever that is, and then in your body you have a deeper understanding. Okay, money is not going to make me happy. And then in the next evolution of your journey up, now it's like, okay, I'm not doing this for money to make me happy. I'm doing this because of my vision, because of my purpose, because I want to be of service in the world. So if you're lower and you're just starting off on a vision, don't beat yourself up if it seems on the surface level like a surface level goal. Like, I want to get this amount of money, or I want to have this type of girl in my dating life. It's okay. Start off. We all have to start off on those visions. And as soon as you hit those peaks, wow, now you go into deeper meaning for the next peak and the next peak. Because what happened to me at some points, and you got to watch out for this, is sometimes you just think, well, what's the point of all of this? Look, I got all the girls. Now I got a decent amount of money as well, but it didn't really make me happy. What's the point? Why would I even carry on and go to that next goal? Why would I even look to pursue something else if it's quote unquote not going to make me happy? But part of the masculine is almost like we feel like we're riding a bike, where when we're moving, we're stable. When on a bicycle, when you're pedaling, you'll be able to be stable. But as soon as you just stop and you become idle, you lose your balance. Nothing makes sense in your life, because the vision, as we said, number one, when you pursue that vision through the failures, the learnings, the improvements, all these steps along the way, that's what actually gives you meaning as a man in your life. So it's important to have that vision. It's important to have goals to work towards as you're going along. And the funny thing is, there'll be a different quality of the journey each way. Say the first time, it's like you really thought like all these goals were going to make you happy. So you went after it and you were anxious about it and you were desperate for it and you were pissed off every single time something got in your way. Now, once you get to that top of that peak and you begin the cycle again, now it's like you go after it, but there's more of an enjoyment. There's more of an acceptance. Cool, I'm doing this. I'm in a human body. Why not go out there and have adventures in the world? Why not go after things that are going to really make me grow as a man without this like neediness of like, oh, it's going to make me happy and fulfilled and all these types of things. And if you're battling with those feelings, okay, that's part of being human as well. So just keep some of that stuff in mind. The final thing I wanted to mention is be careful when you get to these stages where you do hit your goal. Some guys don't want to let go. They're like, no, but I have to carry on because this is, you build up an identity on the journey up. Oh, this is who I am. I'm an entrepreneur. This is what I do, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes that identity has to shift. Sometimes that identity has to evolve, but the ego doesn't want to let it go. It's like, look at, you probably got validation and recognition on the way up to getting to the mountain, which is great. But now when we're like, okay, cool, this journey is over, this adventure is done, and I have to start looking at what is the future adventure that I'm being called to, we don't want to look. We get in this comfort zone, and that's why there can obviously often be a dip after we hit those goals, which is normal. And in this phase, you want to start investigating, what is that next vision for me? What's something that's pulling on my attention that I'm keen to get involved in, that I'm keen to grow in? Because that's really important. And on the journey, like I said, you're going to learn different qualities of persistence. When you have that vision, as a man, sometimes you don't always feel like doing something. You have a vision of having a great body in the gym. Sometimes you don't feel like working out. That's part of persistence that you have to do. Sometimes you're trying to build a business and you're getting rejection and things aren't working out. When you have that vision, that's part of what you have to do. It helps, as a man, help you develop a thick skin, which again is very, very attractive to women. So just some things for you to reflect on, like, do you have a vision for your life? For most men, they don't even have that. And it doesn't have to be a 10-year vision. If that's what it is, amazing. Could be a 3-year vision. That's normally a great thing because a lot can happen in that time. A 1-year vision, a 2-year vision. But it's something worthwhile that's going to stretch you, that's going to be a little bit scary for you from time to time, because that's where the growth happens. If someone says, oh, I have a vision to travel to this country, okay, cool, that's some kind of vision, but that's not really going to stretch you and push you and make you face all these insecurities and all these parts of yourself that you don't really want to look at so you can upgrade it. So number one is the importance of a vision. The importance of a vision as a man, because that gives you direction, that gives you meaning, that gives you drive, that helps you overcome obstacles, because without a vision, people perish. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the subscribe button down below. Drop a comment. What was your biggest takeaway? Have you ever felt a vision in your life, or are you still looking? Let me know what you're battling with at the moment, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.